Hello, my name is Sean Shank. This is my Understanding My Community assignment for EDO 856. I teach at Crossings Christian Schools in Edmond, Oklahoma. Customs and traditions here in Edmond, our town, is attributed to the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railway as we began on April 22nd, 1889, with the opening of the unassigned lands through which these railways traveled. Population here in Edmond in 2012 is 84,855 people. We're located on the historic Route 66, and we host many national events, PGA tournaments. We're having the senior PGA, in fact, here in this summer of 2014, host some USGA competitions and various celebrity events. I would also include in that we are a training facility for the Paralympics and the volleyball and I believe canoeing and kayaking competitions as well. A really neat thing to attend. Edmond strives to be a very artistic culture through various means. We host several annual community events. These include the Arts Festival, Blues and Jazz Festival, Liberty Fest, Dickens of a Christmas, and many others. The FBI's Uniform Crime Reporting says numbers came out and said that we're the 11th safest city in the United States for cities of 75,000 people or more. Very safe place here in Edmond. The median income in Edmond is $66,535. The cost of living here is relatively low, even though the median home prices, I would say, are somewhat high at $197,000. We have 3 high schools here in Edmond, public schools, all of which are part of the largest class in the state of Oklahoma. We call that 6A. The students in our 3 public high schools score well above the state national average on the ACT, and the overall API of our 3 high schools is the highest among any district here in the state. The community of Edmond strongly supports its schools, and it's evidenced by this great statistic here. 53 consecutive bond issues have been passed here in Edmond over the last 51 years. Just an amazing stat. Just shows the strong support that our community and strong importance that our community places on education here in Edmond. And in turn, I would say that our school leaders here in Edmond, whether it's our public or private schools, have done a great job of taking that high priority that our town places on education. They've taken that and they've done their best, and they've provided a great education for the families here in Edmond. Because of the 3 high schools, there doesn't seem to be that small town kind of feel because the loyalty's kind of been split up. You can feel that on a Friday night football game. The town doesn't just shut down like it does in some communities. And I think, again, it's because of the divided loyalty of the 3 high schools. Edmond is predominantly a Caucasian middle to upper class town. We have 40 churches here in our community. Of course, we sit in the middle of the Bible Belt, and most people would probably consider themselves somewhat religious, to use that term. It is a great place to live, I believe, because of these Christian values, character, and morals that are very evident in our people here in Edmond. No way are they perfect, just like in any other place, but it is a safe place, a great place to raise family, and the people here are very outgoing. They include a lot of people, will include everyone. They're very friendly and welcoming of people of any background, whether they are would call themselves religious people or not. I just feel the people here in Edmond are very inclusive of all. Custom traditions here at our school. We don't have many traditions. Our school has just been open this is our 15th year. It was established in 1998. The high school is only in its 4th year of existence. We were recently accredited by the ACSI in 2008, which then led to accreditation here in Oklahoma. The mission of Crossings is to partner with parents and church to develop students into Christ-centered servant leaders who are academically and spiritually prepared for college and life. We do have a few traditions and customs here at our school, even though it is very new, and they're kind of fun. It's been fun to work on developing those traditions here at our school, but some that do exist already are we have a father-son basketball game, great end-of-the-year banquet we call the Knights of the Round Table, and a fun event that we call the Night Walk. We recently just hosted our first home football game this past fall with the completion of our football stadium. Some of the current issues facing our school are the construction and opening of a new middle school here next year in January. We have a rapidly growing student enrollment. And because of that enrollment, we have a need to hire several administrative positions and then many teacher positions. We of course, as a private school, have to always concern ourselves with the increasing costs of a quality education. And we have some technology issues and a technology policy that we're going to have to talk about and implement next year. And here you can see evidence just in this slide alone. Standards 3, functions 2 and 3 of those standards. Function 2 talking about utilizing human, fiscal, and technology resources, and we're doing that with the new technology policy. And then of course we're building the new middle school building, which is standard 3, function 3, and promoting the welfare and safety of students and staff, and that's part of having to build a new building. Population characteristics. You can see these here. People that are 25 years and older, 97% of that population has a high school degree or higher. Almost half of them have a bachelor's degree, and 20% have a graduate's or higher or professional degree. In Edmond, 80% of our population is white or Caucasian. Roughly 5% is black and Hispanic, and you can see the other breakdowns there. In terms of the age of our population, 31% are less than 20 years old. 37% are 20 to 44, 19.5% are 45 to 59, and 12% of the population is older than 59. So that's a community with a lot of families and young kids, and that's why education is so important here. Communication channels, we have newspaper, the Daily Oklahoman, and a local paper, the Edmond Sun. We have all the ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox affiliates. We have approximately 80 radio stations. Most people here in Edmond get their news information from the TV through the local TV stations or their online versions, as well as with the newspaper, either the print or online version. In Edmond, we don't have a huge foreign population, Hispanic population, or anything like that, and so foreign language does not have a major impact in Edmond. Community groups in Edmond, probably similar to several communities across Oklahoma and across the nation. Civic groups, Alliance Club, Kiwanis, and Rotary, and these are just a small sampling of many of the groups here in Edmond. Educational groups here in Edmond include the EACT, the OEA, and the NEA. Some special interest groups that we have. Some of the many are the United Way, Christian Coalition of Oklahoma, OK Watchdog, the NRA. And at our school, we are associated with a large church here in Edmond called the Crossings Community Church, and so they are one of the community groups in our school. We have the PTF, Parent Teacher Fellowship. We have, of course, our school board, which has 13 members in it, various student clubs and organizations, athletic teams, booster clubs, and all those. The above groups do affect, of course, some of the families in our community in Edmond, but they don't have maybe a direct influence on the policy or procedure of Crossings Christian Schools. Because we're a private school, of course, we don't have teachers unions and don't receive any local, state, or federal funding. So some of those community groups don't have a direct influence on our school. The church that we're associated with, the church does not fund us, but we are a ministry arm of the church. They have done some great things for the school. They've bought the land on which our buildings exist that are next to the school, and we have great, beautiful facilities. Our policy is determined by the administration, school board members, and department chairs in our school. Known leadership in Edmond, we have a mayor, 4-member city council, and of course some business leaders at our school. You can see here the headmaster, administration, staff, our leadership team, which includes department chairs, again our school board, the church, and parent groups, both formal and informal. These influencing agents do have varying degrees of influence on our school and its policies and procedures. One great thing about our school that I have found is our parents are extremely supportive, and even though most of them are wealthy and probably a lot of them have high positions in the businesses in which they're associated with, they don't use that status or position or wealth in a negative way with our leadership in our school. Of course, as most private schools have to deal with, though, there's always that challenge I believe, is an administration of listening to your parents, but not allowing them to determine the policies and procedures in your school. But always to have that listening ear, and I believe that that goes to looking at Standard 4 as you're collaborating with faculty and community members and trying to promote the success of all your students, and knowing the community needs and mobilizing those community resources to help your students and your school out. Community leader characteristics. Edmond, the leaders in Edmond are well known. They're wealthy, successful, respected leaders in the community. Most are longtime residents, so they really care about the past and the future of the town. And they are accessible and approachable as well. And at Crossing is very similar. Our school board consists of our pastor at the church and 2 elders from the church. To be a teacher administrator here, you do not have to attend the church, though, which I think is great. The administration elders are heavily involved in the community and in their respective churches. Our administrators are great. I believe they're readily accessible. They meet Standard 4 functions 3 and 4 as they build relationships with all of our stakeholders, whether it's casting a vision or just in communication, just in sharing ideas. But they're readily available, accessible, and visible at all school functions and activities. Our administration is great in communicating with our stakeholders through various media platforms and utilizing social media. And again, our leadership is very strong, so they'll receive input from our parents and staff and those things, but they're very strong leaders. They'll listen to those people and then make the best decision for our students based on our school's mission and core values. Economic conditions. Median household income, again, as I stated, is $66,535, and the home value is $197,000. Neat statistic here. In 2012, there were 594 building permits for new homes that were granted, and the average cost of those permits was $286,600. So, very wealthy community. The homes are getting more expensive, very large homes and some great neighborhoods. 7.2% of the population here lives at or below the poverty line. Unemployment rate is pretty low at 4.3%. You can see the majority of our jobs here come from the technology, manufacturing, construction, wholesale, and retail trade areas or fields. You can see our top 10 employers there in 2010. Top employer in Edmond was the Edmond Public Schools. Local sales tax rate is 8.25%. State income tax rate, if you're in the highest bracket, is 5.25%, and the mill rate, when you include all the county and VOTEC taxes, tax rates as well, is 105.81. Political structure here is a private school. We don't receive any local, state, or federal funding, but we're not immune, though, to the politics of our nation affecting our school. I do believe it's impossible to separate politics from education. And the reason for that is everyone has a worldview. And no matter whether you want to impart your worldview onto others or not, you can't help it. Your worldview is going to be evident in everything you believe and everything you do. And that would include in how we educate our children here in America. Social tensions here at Crossings Christian Schools. We have no gang activity or racial tension. Even though we're not very diverse, we do have some African Americans and Asian students and their leaders in the school. There is zero racial tension. We are not immune to social tension. I don't believe we have a lot. Our kids are very loving and accepting of other students from different races, belief systems, lifestyle choices, socioeconomic backgrounds, and abilities. But of course, they are not perfect in any way, shape, or form. So there's always conflict when you have people involved. And the root of those conflicts is the same as in any school, probably comes from social and economic status and background, belief system differences, your upbringing, some cultural differences, and then any family dynamics and issues that you may bring. That pretty much wraps up my Understanding My Community project for EDL 856. I've included my standards as I talked through the slides. So I really enjoyed getting to do this and learn more about my community. And as an administrator, of course, this would be is extremely important if you want to be successful at your school. Thank you for listening.